Yellowstone was cruising along, ready to ride off into a sunset of record-breaking ratings. But whoa Nelly, it turned into a bucking bronco that no one could hold down. Just when we thought Season 5 was taking a little nap since January 2023, bam! The end of the series is charging at us faster than a bull after a red flag. And just like us, Paramount Network didn't expect that either. See, as we all know, our star cowboy Kevin Costner, who plays John Dutton, was officially hanging his hat as he revealed in his legal battle with his ex-wife Baumgartner. And to put it in his own words, Costner said, "It's a little disappointing that it's the #1 show on television and I'm not participating. I'll probably go to court over it." Now that Costner's departure from Yellowstone is official, what will happen to our beloved series? How could Taylor Sheridan end John Dutton's fate in the show? What is the filming date of Season 2 Part 2? What is the release date? Who will be back on the ranch? Well, these questions are what we're going to answer in this video. Also, we're going to spill the exclusive news, and you won't believe it because there are 2 actors who play 2 major characters who are demanding almost 2 times what their current salary is in the show. So stick around to the very end of our rodeo, keep watching everything we know about Yellowstone Season 5 Part 2. Yellowstone is ending with Season 5. First, imagine the sun setting over the vast Montana plains, but instead of a peaceful end to the day, we've got news that's stirring up more dust than a cattle stampede. Yellowstone is wrapping up with Season 5, folks. Yep, Paramount dropped this bombshell in early May 2023, marking the calendar for November 2023 for the final episodes to hit our screens. However, there was a sequel series in the holster ready to fire off last December 2023. But a writer's strike and an actor's strike have moseyed on in, delaying the project's whole shootout. Because of that, the whole fandom is wondering if Kevin Costner would come back to ride for the rest of Season 5. And if the suspense was a horse, it would be wilder than any Mustang. Because, like I said earlier, a report claimed Costner was going to hang up his cowboy hat after Season 5, right before the final season's news was announced. And as clear as a muddy river, we're still squinting to see how involved Costner will be in the last roundup. Furthermore, Taylor Sheridan gave us a glimmer of hope in a June interview with The Hollywood Reporter. Despite the strikes throwing a wrench in the works, Sheridan insists his vision for the end of the trail is still in play. He said that discussions are ongoing with Costner's camp about getting back in the saddle to film more scenes to give his character the send-off he deserves. Moreover, Sheridan put it plain and simple, saying, "I'm disappointed. It truncates the closure of his character. Doesn't alter it, but it truncates it." The Yellowstone universe is growing. Speaking of Sheridan, he isn't just resting on his laurels with the show's 5th season, because he's been as busy as a bee expanding the Yellowstone universe on Paramount+. That's why we've already got a taste of the past with the existing prequel 1883 and another origin story set in tough times of the Great Depression era titled 1923, starring Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford, which will be coming back for its 2nd season. Not only that, Sheridan also signed a deal for several in-development spin-offs, including ones with the intriguing working titles 1944 and 2024. These new series look poised to follow the winning formula of the previous prequels, focusing on different eras of the Dutton family saga. And if the whispers are true, 2024 might just star Matthew McConaughey. And if that is true, we will surely keep you updated. But here's the thing. In the past, Costner was the only actor who wanted a bigger paycheck, right? Well, now Kelly Riley, Cole Hauser, and Luke Grimes are in the middle of some high-stake negotiations to star in the in-development follow-up series to Yellowstone. They demanded a much higher contract, and as Puck News reports, Riley and Hauser are asking for the $1.2 million per episode range, with Riley initially wanting $1.5 million. So Paramount's got a big decision on their hands. Another interesting update for our beloved show is that the sequel is searching for a female lead, with Michelle Pfeiffer's name lighting up the board. Puck reported that both Michelle Pfeiffer's side and Paramount Network are close to making the deal. And as for McConaughey, well, he's like a mysterious stranger in town, not a definite lock for the role, and waiting for the script. Sheridan also hinted that his spin-off series might take us to a new location, saying, "There are lots of places where a way of life that existed for 150 years is slamming against a new way of life, but the challenges are completely different. There are a lot of places you can tell this story." And let's not forget about the Four Sixes, the spin-off set at the real historic Four Sixes Ranch in Texas. It's a story that promises to show us how the ranch operates today, just like it did over a century ago. However, Sheridan is taking his time, saying, Four Sixes, for a number of reasons, needs a unique level of special care because this is a real place with real families working here. You have to respect the lineage. I've told the studio to be patient. Moreover, Sheridan has plans for more Yellowstone prequels than you can shake a stick at. In his own words, he said, "The prequels are time capsules of life in Montana as a microcosm of the world as a whole. They're big spectacles, and the more you move into the modern era, the bigger that spectacle becomes. I know these are huge bets Paramount makes on me every time. I'm asking them to give me Game of Thrones Season 6 money for what is essentially a pilot every year, and that's a big ask. As long as I do my job well and people don't bore of the genre, I think there will be enough for many more prequels. 3 or 4. How many episodes and when will Yellowstone Season 5 Part 2 return?" Firstly, in his conversation with The Hollywood Reporter back in June of 2023, Sheridan also dropped a bombshell that's got everyone buzzing. He said, "If I think it takes 10 episodes to wrap it up, Paramount Network will give me 10. It'll be as long as it needs to be. This means we could be looking at a grand total of 18 episodes for Season 5. Secondly, Paramount had us all marking our calendars for a summer of 2023 return, but then they kept moving the fence posts. First to November, then to December, and finally settling on November of 2024. And while we don't have an exact date to circle yet, Variety let it slip that production is gearing up to start in the late spring of 2024. The cast of Yellowstone Season 5 is expanding. Remember Josh Lucas? He's riding back into town as the younger Josh Dutton, and he's not alone. Kylie Rogers and Kyle Red Silverstein are also saddling up as young Beth and young Rip. And there's also Jackie Weaver, who plays Carolyn Warner. Folks like Mo Brings Plenty and Wendy Moniz are stepping up their game as series regulars. Furthermore, Kai Castor will swagger in as Rowdy, Lainey Wilson strum in as a musician, Lily Kay will lend a hand to the Duttons, and Don Oliveri is diving into the Yellowstone waters with a splash as the corporate shark, Sarah Atwood. Now, for the ranch's other residents, Jem Landon and Catherine Kelly have earned their spurs as series regulars. And Jefferson White? His fate has been the talk of the town, leaving us wondering if he's riding off to the spin-off show Four Sixes or sticking around. But fear not, because the heart and soul of Yellowstone aren't going anywhere. Luke Grimes, Kelly Riley, Wes Bentley, Cole Haza, and the rest of the gang are all coming back. Will Kevin Costner be in the final episodes? In July 2023, Insider got their hands on Costner's legal documents where he mentioned he'd be pocketing less cash in 2023 because, and I quote, "I am no longer under contract for Yellowstone, the principal source of my income last year." And Puck News reports in May 2023 that Costner wouldn't tip his hat about returning until he was good and ready, especially concerning how John Dutton rides off into the sunset. Now, according to the latest word from Puck News, Costner's representatives want to negotiate for Costner's getting back in the saddle for those last episodes. But the show doesn't want him anymore. Puck whispers that the scripts for the first few episodes are penned with a door left open for Costner's grand entrance or his absence, whichever way the wind blows. And would you believe it? Costner was the last to know about Yellowstone's final curtain call. Puck News dropped a bombshell in late February 2024 saying that Taylor Sheridan is happy with the scripts for the finale, which don't include Costner. And with filming rearing to go in just a few months, there's no time for Costner and the show to negotiate. And I know after hearing the news, you want to release something inside your mind, so feel free to spit it out in the comment section below. Because over on Reddit, fans are tossing their 2 cents into the hat. One diehard declared, "There's no Yellowstone without Costner." Another fan said with optimism, "I bet he comes back. I'm thinking this is all smokescreens to keep everyone talking about the show." However, for me, it's better for the show that Costner will not go back. And here's why. Keep watching. Taylor Sheridan and the sharp-minded writers behind Yellowstone have been cooking up the plot for the final chapters of our beloved show over at the Paramount Network. They've been stirring the pot with a big ol' spoon, knowing full well that Kevin Costner, the heart and soul of Yellowstone, wouldn't be saddling up with them for the last ride in Season 5 Part 2. Now, if they try to stitch John back into the story, it would be like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. It just wouldn't fit without turning the whole script upside down. The writers, and us fans, dusted off our boots and started to come to terms with the idea of Yellowstone riding into the sunset without its leading man. It's a tough pill to swallow, considering Costner and his character are as central to Yellowstone as the ranch itself. Costner's comeback would steal other plot of the show. Here's the kicker. If the scripts are all done and dusted, Costner's grand return might just be a quick howdy rather than a full-blown rodeo. Imagine John Dutton popping in for a scene or two, tipping his hat, but not sticking around long enough to stir up the dust. Now, if the rumors milling around the watering hole are true, and Costner's posse is negotiating a comeback to give John Dutton a proper send-off, it's gonna be like squeezing a big old bison into a horse trailer. Possible, pretty darn tight. See, Costner's appearance, no matter how brief, would completely steal the thunder from everything else going on in the show. It'll be the talk of the town, overshadowing all the other tales being woven in the final episodes. And come on, man, Yellowstone isn't just the story of John Dutton. All the characters, from the loyal ranch hands to the feisty family members, all deserve their moment in the spotlight, not to be left in the shadow of one man's legacy, no matter how big his cowboy boots are.